Mary King's Close and the ghost of little Annie. Those who walk the streets of the now dark and empty city claim to have seen ghosts and heard moans, even though it has been over 350 years since the bubonic plague struck Edinburgh back in time. The bodies of those who died from the plague were taken out of the city in creaking carriages, and the sound of the axles squeaking made people shudder and close their shutters. The bodies were burnt on sight, the only way to stop the spread of the disease. In addition, the infected were isolated in special places like infirmaries. In 1645, when the plague threatened to engulf Edinburgh, the magistrates ordered a complete blockage of this district to halt the spread of the disease. Most of the buildings in this district belong to Mary King, which is why the district bears her name. As a result, the district was sealed off along with all its inhabitants. As a consequence, numerous stories of apparitions spread on the streets, and many witnesses claimed to have seen the ghostly figures of emaciated, tattered people wandering between the buildings. 100 years after the plague, the residents of Edinburgh demolished the ruined buildings in Mary King's Quarter and replaced them with a new city in the 18th century, sealing away the memories of pain, sorrow, and death. To enter this sealed city, you have to journey into the heart of the Royal Mile through a special system of underground tunnels. Its streets are now silent, dark tunnels and passages. Rows of interconnected light bulbs stretched along the walls and ceiling, dimly illuminating the remnants of the staircases that led to nowhere. Wooden doors were blocked and windows were boarded up. In the alley of Mary King's Close dwells a Scottish ghost, whom one can encounter right in the middle of the street. This is where all the plague-infected inhabitants of Edinburgh were brought, and the town folk never saw them again. Among the infected was a little Scottish girl named Annie, whose parents were sent to the plague-ridden region and permanently separated from her. Mary King's Close still guards its secrets. A century after the dreadful plague claimed the lives of many Edinburgh residents, in place of the ancient street, a massive building has been erected, and the stone labyrinth has transformed into an enigmatic dungeon. However, everyone who is destined to enter this building will encounter supernatural phenomena, mysterious events, or simply sense the presence of underworldly entities. Ghosts have appeared in Mary King's Close on numerous occasions. In 2003, the authorities of Edinburgh opened this mysterious place to tourists who yearned to immerse themselves in parallel world and comprehend the tragic history of old Edinburgh. During a tour organized through Mary King's Close, the guide leads visitors into terrifying underground chamber. Descending the ancient narrow stone steps, visitors are transported back to the 17th century when the plague raged in Edinburgh. Here, you can witness a restored room where, according to a terrifying legend, a little girl named Anna spent her final days. The room lacks windows, and the ceilings are low and arched, creating a suffocating impression. The only visible furniture in the room is a simple wooden table, 2 stools, and a wooden chest used as a bed. A vintage lantern is also displayed in the exhibit. The room vividly demonstrates the horrifying living conditions of the plague-stricken inhabitants of Edinburgh, who spend their final moments in darkness before passing away. During a stroll through Mary King's Close, visitors can also see a corner filled with a multitude of dolls brought by local residents to comfort the ghost of little Annie. They were convinced that the girl enjoyed gazing at the toys, and her ghost often reached out to tourists, leading them into dead ends and occasionally even pinching their legs. Mary King's Close remains one of those places where one can encounter spirits and feel their presence. Throughout the centuries, it has become a symbol of suffering and mystery, attracting many who seek to uncover its sinister history and experience the ancient energy that lingers over its enigmatic streets.